Hello and welcome inside another edition of Phillies Nation presented by BQ Basement Systems. I'm Rachel McCauley. He's Corey Seidman. Thanks so much for joining us this week. This week, we're joined by Matt Breen from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Matt, thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks for having me.
And Matt, you wrote a very interesting story about Alec Asher, who made his debut the other day at Citizens Bank Park. Can you tell us a little bit about his story and kind of how his road to the majors has been?
Yeah, it was kind of incredible for his family to see him pitch in person on Sunday in the major leagues. He had Tommy John surgery when he was just 14 years old. He went to Dr. James Andrews, which is, he operates on every professional athlete that gets Tommy John goes to Dr. Andrews in Alabama. Cost $22,000
Wow.
9 years ago. So that $22,000 wasn't paid off until this year. They budgeted it out, they made it work. Working class family made payments, kind of like buying a new car, but his dad told me better investment than buying a new car. You don't have a used car after 9 years, you have a major league pitcher.
So he probably thought when that happened at age 14 that there's, it's highly unlikely that he's going to be able to make it all the way back. And wasn't he drafted by the Giants initially? What happened there?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Giants in 2010. They used the pick on him out of high school. He goes out to Arizona. He's being recruited by colleges, but he says, I'm going to go join the Giants. He gets there, they do an entrance exam. They find a bone spur in his elbow, same elbow they had Tommy John on. They say, sorry, here's your plane ticket back to Florida.
Wow.
Dream was ended there. He rehabs, he misses a half a year, goes to 2 years of junior college, gets drafted again, and the improbable journey carried on, and you saw it Sunday in Philly. Pretty cool.
That's one of the best stories of the season, honestly. I mean, across baseball, a guy who twice could have just ended it right there, and nobody would have said anything, but the fact that he made it all the way, that's pretty cool. And, it reminds me of something that I heard John Smoltz say a couple months ago on MLB Network. He said that there's just no spontaneous baseball played anymore with these kids because they're on this circuit when they're 13 years old. They're throwing all these pitches. They're throwing 100 innings a year when their bodies aren't even fully developed. And I think that's why we're seeing so many Tommy Johns, even if it doesn't happen until a guy's 18 to 20. Those innings that a guy has stockpiled at 13, 14, 15, they have to add up. And what we saw out of Alec Asher on Sunday was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He came within 1 out of a quality start, gave up that single to James Shields that scored the 4th run. But, I mean, look, not everybody's going to have a Jared Eichhoff-like debut with 6 shutout innings.
Yeah, and Jared Eichhoff is another one who's done pretty good so far since coming up to the majors. What have you seen? Has he exceeded expectations? I like what I've seen from him so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's looked really good. Just like Asher, he's a major league pitch and a curveball. Asher throws a major league slider, and that's what you need at this level. You need a fastball, obviously, and then another pitch that has to be major league ready, and that's why the Phillies saw that, and they called him up. And then another thing is his mentality. His AAA manager said he's a bulldog on the mound, and I think you saw that in Miami, that first start. That was really impressive.
And you also saw it in his second start because he threw 40 pitches in the first inning against the Mets, but then he fully recovered, retired 14 batters in a row until his final inning when he lost the quality start. But out of Eichhoff, that was really impressive. The fact that he was, after in the first inning, staying right over the plate. He was high, he was missing with a lot of pitches, and I think he learned very quickly major league players do not miss belt-high fastballs right down the middle. I mean, maybe you can get away with that at AA, AAA, not up here. The fact that he had 2 starts in a row against the Mets, I thought that was a pretty good test because the Mets have had the Phillies number the last 3 or 4 years, and that is a patient and right now powerful lineup. But I mean, so far, so good. You got to remember, these are the final 2 pieces of the Cole Hamels trade. It's not like Eichhoff and Asher were the headliners. They were the 4th and 5th pieces. So I'd say that Cole Hamels trade's working out so far.
Yeah, and if they work out, it'll definitely be a win for the Phillies. I think it's quite remarkable that the Phillies have 4 of 5 members of their rotation that started the year in the minor leagues, and 2 of them in AA. So it's great to see them develop. And I think what you can say about all 4 of them is that they're very calm, cool, collected, poised on the mound.
Yeah.
And it's been exciting to watch so far, which brings us to number 1 of all those guys in Aaron Nola. How has he been so far? Do you like what you've seen? I mean, you can't not.
Yeah, exactly. You can't not like it. It's good, pretty much good as advertised is what you saw in the minors. He throws a lot of strikes, doesn't walk a lot of batters. He's walked 2 or less batters in all but one of his starts. Struck out at least 5 batters in all but 2 of his starts. He's been pretty much what you need, and I think you can pencil him in for opening day next year in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, he already looks like a bona fide number 2, number 3 starter in the majors. I think that one thing to point out is that the last 2 starts, 15 innings, dominant innings against the Marlins and Padres back-to-back. What do those 2 lineups have in common? Well, they don't have any powerful left-handed bats. And Aaron Nola, since he came up, has been pretty much unhittable against right-handed batters. Lefties, that's something he's going to need to improve on this offseason, maybe develop a little bit better of an out pitch to lefties. But yeah, really with Aaron Nola so far, I think this is exceeding expectations. I said that if he came up and gave the Phillies an ERA of like 3.5, that would be decent, and he's under that right now. The one thing I would watch out for, though, he's about 11 innings away from 170, which is the soft number that Ruben Amaro gave earlier this season to shut him down. Although he's been making quick work, the last 2 starts, only 12 pitches per inning, so I wonder if they're going to let him go a little bit past that. And the last point I want to make there is, Rachel, you mentioned that the Phillies have 4 rookies in the rotation right now between Aaron Nola, Alec Asher, and Adam Morgan. This is the most starting pitchers that have ever debuted in a season for the Phillies. 5. Those 4 and Severino Gonzalez. The Phillies have never had 5 starting pitchers make their major league debuts in the same season.
Yeah, and you mentioned limiting Aaron Nola's innings. That could be done possibly with a 6-man rotation coming up in September. If they bring up somebody else, who knows, that record could go even higher. Another guy in the minors who's struggled as of late is Jesse Biddle. He's been placed on the DL with a shoulder strain, and he wasn't pitching well anyway. He was 2-4 with a 6.25 ERA in AAA. How much of a disappointment has he been? It's probably the last we'll see of him.
Yeah, well, I think you're definitely going to see him next season again. He's going to come back. But for the rest of the season, he's not going to be a September call-up. You asked me 3 months ago, I said, Jesse Biddle probably will be a September call-up. It was pretty much a lost season for Jesse Biddle, a Philadelphia kid, which is, everyone's rooting for him to get to the big leagues. But he reached AAA for the first time. That was a success. What he did in AAA was not a success. No. And then next season has to be the make or break season for Jesse Biddle, and then we'll say we haven't seen him again.
Yeah, I really agree that next year is the make or break season for him, because he's now 6 years out of being drafted, and the Phillies have him on the 40-man roster only because if he wasn't, he would have to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft, and they don't want to lose him for nothing. But yeah, next season is going to determine whether Jesse Biddle moves forward with this organization, because if he doesn't progress and stop walking so many batters, that 40-man roster spot is going to be tenuous for him to hold on to.
Yeah, and one more guy quickly is Darnell Sweeney, who the Phillies got back in the Chase Utley deal. He's been better than advertised. He's been great. He's been better than Utley since the trade. I mean, we thought that he was going to have more upside than Utley, but he has the 445 homer he hit in Miami. He had another one over the weekend, plays multiple positions, had the 3-walk game. I've liked everything I've seen out of Darnell Sweeney. How about you?
Yeah, it hasn't been no hit yet, right?
That's true.
A little more on that later.
Darnell does look really good. It's another thing. You Chase Utley, you pretty much got 2 lottery tickets, 2 guys you didn't really know much about. John Ritchie's down in Clearwater right now, and now Darnell Sweeney's debuting in the big leagues. So you take what you see and see what you got there with those guys.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for joining us this week. You can read everything Matt writes in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Coming up on Phillies Nation, presented by BQ's Basement Systems, our own Jay Floyd and Rudy Mezzi catch up with some prospects in the minor leagues.
Phillies Nation is presented by BQ Basement Systems, the Philadelphia region's premier basement contractor.
Have you ever noticed a crack in the foundation of your house? Concrete and block foundations usually have at least a few cracks. The trick is recognizing which ones are serious. I founded BQ Basement Systems in 1997 to help my Delaware Valley neighbors answer that question. We specialize in foundation repairs, concrete leveling, and all things basementing. Have one of our certified inspectors out for a free evaluation and estimate.
Behold, we are in the presence of champions. Fantasy sports legends who have earned hundreds of thousands of dollars playing online. Meet Arlie Gonzalez. Average guy, superior sports knowledge. Picked a team in minutes and won enough to throw the party of a lifetime. In outer space. Former accountant Derek Bradley. DraftKings One Day Fantasy Baseball took him from a guy with holes in his underpants to a guy with bikini models in them.
How do we turn our love of fantasy sports into reality cash?
DraftKings.com. They have one-day games, so you're not locked in. It's like a new season every time you play. And best of all, you could win a shipload of money.
Start playing today for your share of $1 billion. Use promo code PITCH and get free entry in our 100K baseball contest on opening day. More sports, more winners, more millionaires. Get to DraftKings.com now.
If you're a sports fan, you need to check out Sports Vault. Our stores will surround you with a great selection of autographed memorabilia, licensed apparel, trading cards, and novelties. Want to meet your favorite local and national superstars? Sports Vault brings the legends to you with dozens of in-store appearances. Check out any of our 3 locations in King of Prussia, Exton, or Moorestown. Or visit sportsvaultshop.com and use the code PhilliesNation to save 20% on your next order of autographed merchandise.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Philly has a long sports history filled with great players and moments. Shibe Vintage Sports in Center City relives the glory years with fashionable attire for all your favorite teams. Separate yourself from the crowd with the hippest Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers gear. Pick up some unique shirts featuring local teams of yesteryear, or come to fun events where you can learn about your favorite teams. So if you're a sports fan, then you need to check out Shibe Vintage Sports. Visit them at 13th and Walnut or shibesports.com.
Phillies Nation is filmed each week at Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall in Center City, Philadelphia. Come by all season long for delicious food, daily craft beer specials, and live music every Saturday.
Our own Jay Floyd and Rudy Mezzi put together a scouting report at some of the newest prospects acquired by the Phillies at the trade deadline.
Thanks, guys. The Phillies got back 6 pitchers among other players in the 3 trades they made at the deadline, so I'm here with Jay Floyd. Nobody knows these guys better than Jay Floyd, so let's start breaking these guys down. And one guy warming up behind us, you probably can't see him, but that's Jake Thompson. Jake Thompson, one of the bigger prospects for the Rangers, also coming along in the Hamels deal. What have we seen from him? He's big things to expect from him?
Yeah, absolutely. Thompson makes an excellent debut with AA Reading. And so you're looking for Thompson, a 21-year-old righty, now as the Phillies' top pitching prospect with the promotion of Aaron Nola to the big league. So, Jake Thompson, low 90s fastball with sink, induces a lot of ground ball out. So look for big things from Thompson going forward for the Phils in the system.
Yeah, another guy that Phil's got straight up for Papelbon is Nick Pivetta. We just got a chance to talk to Nick Pivetta. Kind of knows he's going to have to fill the hole that Papelbon leaves. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, we talked to Nick, and Nick's aware that Papelbon's a name that everybody in the baseball world will know, while not many people are aware of the name Nick Pivetta quite yet. But he commented on maybe having to live up to that type of status after coming to the Phils and that sort of deal.
You got a guy like Jonathan Papelbon, amazing closer, all-star guy. Even I grew up watching him when he played in Boston. But as for pressure, no. I mean, I'm just going to go out there, keep doing the same thing I do every single day, playing baseball, having fun, and hopefully one day making the major leagues.
Another guy they get from the Hamels deal, going to start in AAA, is Alec Asher, another right-hander. What have we seen from him so far?
Alec's a good prospect there. The Phils acquire. You're going to need depth. He's another right-hander. Alec is 23 years old, about a 4.73 ERA at the AAA level prior to coming to the Phils. So could be best used as a reliever going forward, but look for Asher to be a contributor for the Phillies out of that trade as well.
And kind of casually looking at these guys' numbers, fans might be a little skeptical. Everybody has an ERA over 4 with their past club, but no need to worry, right?
No, not at all. I mean, you guys got all these guys doing a considerably fair job at any level that they're at. We talked about Asher being young for the AAA level, even by today's standards. So nothing to really worry about as far as output goes from these guys on the mound for sure.
Now we just talked 4 starters. Phillies farm system is now chock full of starters. Let's talk about a couple relievers they got in the Ben Revere deal. One of these guys, Jimmy Cordero, can hit 103. What else do we know about him?
Well, he's a fireballer. So you're looking at, out of that trade from the Blue Jays, the Phils acquiring a couple pieces that could be big-time contributors out of the bullpen for them for years to come. You look at the teams of the past, the successful years of the past, bullpens were deep. You had Aaron Fultz with a career year, Ryan Madsen and Brad Lidge, and all these guys that were doing great things and had career seasons. You're going to need a lot of depth out of the bullpen, and these guys are going to be that depth for the Phils going forward.
Yeah, another one of those guys, Albert Tirado, was high on the Blue Jays list of prospects, but then again, who wasn't after they gutted their system from Tulowitzki and the Price trade? But what have we seen from him? He's going to start in Clearwater.
Yeah, high A ball for a 21-year-old right-hander, mid-90s fastball, another guy. That's what I'm saying. These guys are going to be contributors for years to come. So look for big things from the duo from Toronto for sure.
All right, looking forward to seeing a lot of new arms and some nice arms at Citizens Bank Park in these coming years. Jay Floyd here. I'm Rudy Mezzi. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Rudy and Jay. Coming up on Phillies Nation, presented by BQ Basement Systems, we'll discuss some of recently productive Phillies who aren't young but aren't veterans either.
Now available for pre-sale on Amazon.com, Phillies Nation presents The 100 Greatest Phillies of All Time. The book features profiles dedicated to each top 100 player and is jam-packed with lists that are sure to spark debate, including the greatest trades, free agent signings, and draftees in club history. Go to Amazon.com today and pre-order your copy of The 100 Greatest Phillies of All Time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lenny Roberts from Summit Spine and Wellness. For well over a decade, we've been helping people in the greater Philadelphia region reach their health goals. If you suffer from stress and tension in your neck, have low back pain, or experience sciatica, let our experts take care of you. Clients also love our stress-relieving massage therapy and easy-to-follow nutrition plans. You don't have to live with your pain and discomfort. We can help. Your initial consultation is free. Call Summit Spine and Wellness now at 215-487-2500.
Travel is not the exciting adventure it used to be. I still love the destination, yet getting there can be a hassle unless you travel like the pros. Major League Vacations offers exciting personal or group travel options to your team's away game or your favorite vacation destinations. MLV does all the legwork. You focus on the experience. For more than 20 years, MLV has been a trusted partner to thousands of people just like you. Visit MLV.com and make travel exciting again, or call 800-222-6256. Tell them Ricky Bo sent you.
I'm Brian Quinn from BQ Basement Systems. Call us for all things basement-y. Ask us about our poly-level concrete leveling system. It's a cost-effective, less disruptive, permanent solution, and it has a quick cure time. It can be driven over or walked on in 15 minutes after installation. Since 1997, over 7,000 customers have trusted us. Visit us at bqbasementsystems.com or call us at 1-800-339-2070.
Live sports, craft beer, great food, good times. What more do you need? Every day is a party at Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall, the largest sports bar in Center City. Come to 11th and Filbert to see what you've been missing. Phillies Nation is filmed each week at Fieldhouse Sports and Beer Hall in Center City, Philadelphia. Come by all season long for delicious food, daily craft beer specials, and live music every Saturday.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by BQ Basement Systems. And Corey, let's switch gears here just a little bit and talk about a couple guys who aren't quite veterans yet, but aren't young players either. And let's start with the Ruff and Howard platoon at first base. Ruff has earned a lot more playing time, and they're in a straight platoon right now. And what have you seen out of that so far?
This was a make or break year for Darren Ruff. I mean, he was going to get more playing time at first base than ever before just because of the direction the Phillies are headed in. And while he hasn't proven that he's an everyday player, he has definitely proven that he can be an everyday player against left-handed pitching. If you look at Darren Ruff's platoon splits for his career, this year he's hitting .365 with an OPS over 1,000 against lefties. For his career, a .291 hitter, a .378 on base percentage against lefties with an extra base hit every 8.8 at bats. I mean, that's bona fide like star numbers against, let's be clear, against opposite-handed pitching. So if you can have Darren Ruff as a platoon guy against lefties, all you need is a batter to face righties, which Ryan Howard's also done pretty well.
Yeah, he has. But how much, the Phillies have obviously limited Ryan Howard's playing time, and it's decreased a lot. They can't make a deal for him. Where do you see this continuing into 2016?
Well, not every Phillies fan, but most Phillies fans want Howard to be traded just to kind of turn the page a little bit more on one of the other veteran players the Phillies have. It's down to just two now with Howard and Carlos Ruiz. But what I will say is that if the Phillies don't move Ryan Howard this winter, look at what he's done against right-handed pitching this year. .269 batting average, .830 OPS, 18 home runs, 62 RBIs, all against right-handed pitching. You can't ever allow him to face a lefty, which can be troublesome because when he faces a right-handed starting pitcher, then a lefty specialist comes in later in the game and he's almost an automatic out. But, I mean, at the very worst, you could have a Ruff Howard platoon next year, which, just based on the numbers, should work.
Yeah, and then switching over to catcher, Cameron Rupp's been really good, especially in the month of August. He's hitting .327 with 6 home runs and 16 RBIs in August. And he's kind of split time with Carlos Ruiz as of late. How do you see that one playing out?
Well, when the season began, it was clear that Ruiz was the starter, Rupp was the backup. And then it kind of mixed to a 50-50 split. But lately, it's been more Rupp than Carlos Ruiz. And if you look at what Cameron Rupp has done, not just in August, but since the beginning of July, since July 3rd, which is about 25 games, Cameron Rupp is at .280 with a .900 OPS, 7 home runs, 18 RBIs, and he's been throwing base runners out at a 35% clip. So the fact that he's giving the Phillies the offense and the defense that Carlos Ruiz has kind of declined with, he looks like a piece moving forward. Maybe he's not an everyday catcher, but he can be a serviceable backup.
Yeah, Ruiz still has 1 year left on his deal. So next year, how do you see it playing out in 2016?
I think it's going to be more Rupp than Ruiz, but there are some other catchers that are coming through the pipeline. Andrew Knapp, who we've mentioned a couple times recently on the show, hitting close to 400 at AA, and there's also Jorge Alfaro.
Yeah, Jorge Alfaro, all of a sudden the Phillies have catching depth, which is something we used to talk about earlier this season that they did not have. But Jorge Alfaro's now returned, and he's gotten some playing time. And how's he look so far?
Yeah, Jorge Alfaro, who had that ankle injury that it looked like he wasn't going to play at all this season for the Phillies, he's playing down the Gulf Coast League, so he's getting some at-bats, and he's expected to play in the Venezuelan Winter League, which should make up for some of that lost developmental time. And that's great news for the Phillies that he was able to come back from that ankle injury, and they're hoping that next year, I guess he would probably start at AA, get some at-bats, play some catcher, play some first base, maybe mix him in one of the corner outfield spots too because he's so athletic, and then try to get him to AAA by midseason.
Yeah, and he was one of the largest pieces in the Cole Hamels deal, one of the centerpieces of it. So it'll certainly be a catcher with an ankle. You want to make sure that gets straightened out. So I think the Phillies are going to take every precaution with him. But with how Cameron Rupp's been doing, he could certainly bridge that gap until Alfaro or any of the other guys are ready. All right, on to another injured player, Nick Williams on the 7-day concussion DL. But he had been playing really well.
He had been playing exceptionally well, hitting .326 when he went on that concussion DL with power, with speed, with good center field defense, and he should be back in time for the Eastern League playoffs, which the Reading Phillies are just, as of the beginning of the week, I think the magic number for them was 2. So he'll probably be back for the stretch run, and that's great to see because he's been leading off for them and he's been one of the top players on that team. And with J.P. Crawford getting hot again, you know, that's a 1-2 punch that the Phillies are looking at for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to like what you see down on the farm. One more guy, Roman Quinn. He's been injured for much of the year, and he looks like his season's going to be done probably.
Yeah, when Nick Williams first got to AA, one of the questions that a lot of people had was, well, what happens when Roman Quinn returns? Who's going to play center field? Who's going to lead off? And that was a problem that was going to sort itself out, and it turned out not to sort itself out because the Phillies are going to give Quinn as much time as he needs to recover from that torn quad. It was initially ruled as a hip flexor injury, then a torn quad, and this is a guy who tore his Achilles a few years ago too. All of Roman Quinn's game is predicated on speed, so the Phillies want to give him as much time as possible to recover from these leg injuries. I would think, though, that he's either going to play in the Arizona Fall League or they'll find a winter league for him somewhere because the Phillies always like to get their prospects those developmental at-bats back.
Yeah, and he'll definitely need some rehab after that injury. All right, when we come back on Phillies Nation, Corey and I will give our fantasy picks next.
Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code PHILS for free entry.
Behold, we are in the presence of champions. Fantasy sports legends who have earned hundreds of thousands of dollars playing online. Meet Arlie Gonzalez. Average guy, superior sports knowledge. Picked a team in minutes and won enough to throw the party of a lifetime. In outer space. Former accountant Derek Bradley. DraftKings one-day fantasy baseball took him from a guy with holes in his underpants to a guy with bikini models in them.
How do we turn our love of fantasy sports into reality cash?
DraftKings.com. They have one-day games, so you're not locked in. It's like a new season every time you play. And best of all, you could win a shipload of money.
Start playing today for your share of $1 billion. Use promo code PITCH and get free entry in our 100K baseball contest on opening day. More sports, more winners, more millionaires. Get to DraftKings.com now.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Now available for pre-sale on Amazon.com, Phillies Nation presents The 100 Greatest Phillies of All Time. The book features profiles dedicated to each top 100 player and is jam-packed with lists that are sure to spark debate, including the greatest trades, free agent signings, and draftees in club history. Go to Amazon.com today and pre-order your copy of The 100 Greatest Phillies of All Time.
The biggest problem with your phone is not a low battery or no signal. It's about what it does to your posture. Hi, I'm Dr. Lenny Roberts from Summit Spine and Wellness. For well over a decade, we've been helping the greater Philadelphia region reach their health goals. This is the most common posture problem that I see, but you have no idea about the long-term neck and back issues you can suffer from if you don't correct your text neck. You don't have to live like this. We can correct your posture. Your initial consultation is free. Call Summit Spine and Wellness now at 215-487-2500.
Spring is in the air. Unfortunately, for many of our Delaware Valley customers, spring means wet basements and crawl spaces. If this is something you struggle with, call BQ Basement Systems. We're the experts in identifying where the water is coming in from, how to get it out, and how to keep it out for good. Give BQ a call, and one of our certified inspectors will come out to give you a free evaluation and estimate. Visit us at bqbasementsystems.com or call us at 1-800-339-2070.
Philly has a long sports history filled with great players and moments. Shibe Vintage Sports in Center City relives the glory years with fashionable attire for all your favorite teams. Separate yourself from the crowd with the hippest Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers gear. Pick up some unique shirts featuring local teams of yesteryear, or come to fun events where you can learn about your favorite teams. So if you're a sports fan, then you need to check out Shibe Vintage Sports. Visit them at 13th and Walnut or shibesports.com.
Phillies Nation is presented by BQ Basement Systems, the Philadelphia region's premier basement contractor.
Our fantasy baseball recap is presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter the promo code PHILS for a free entry. Corey, who do you like this week?
This week I have Stephen Piscotty as my offensive player, the St. Louis Cardinals outfielder. He's one of a seemingly endless slew of prospects that come up for the Cards and instantly produce. I mean, we saw that with Randall Grichuk earlier in the season, and once Grichuk went on the DL, Piscotty's come up and done nothing but hit. 340 batting average, OPS close to 1,000. For my pitcher, I have Derek Holland, who's kind of an easy choice after that shutout with 11 strikeouts, I believe, on Sunday, and he has a huge matchup this Saturday against the Los Angeles Angels, the team the Rangers are battling for that second wild card spot. So, crucial start for him. I'm expecting big things. How about you?
All right, I'm going with Nick Hundley in Colorado. The Rockies have 8 games at Coors Field this week, including a doubleheader, so I like him. He's hitting .358 there. And I also like pitcher for Chris Bassett in Oakland. He's got 2 starts this week, and he has a 2.73 ERA in his last 10. So we'll see how that one goes. Let's end the show with the segment we like to call By the Numbers. It is presented by Shibe Vintage Sports. Check out all their new throwback Eagles gear at their store on 13th and Walnut in Center City or at shibesports.com. Corey, this week we happen to have the same number, but dealing with 2 different things, and that's number 3.
Yeah, 3 is dealing with Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins, who have been a part of 3 no-hitters in the last 2 years. The Josh Beckett no-hitter last May, and then Mike Fiers 10 days ago as of Monday morning, and Sunday night Jake Arrieta with the no-hitter against them. Not only have Rollins and Utley been a part of all 3, they've batted back-to-back in all 3, and they've batted in the 9th inning of all 3 games, with Utley making the final out in 2 of them. So I don't think the Dodgers were expecting that when they got Utley. They'd be no-hitting twice in 10 days. But what is your 3 deal with?
My 3 deals with the Toronto Blue Jays. They have 3 players that have 30 home runs through the end of August: Bautista, Encarnacion, and Donaldson. And the last team to do that was the 2008 Phillies, with Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Pat Burrell.
That's a remarkable stat, because it seems like there have been teams that have had 3 power hitters at once, but the fact that that hasn't been done just shows you how hard it is to do. It seems like Edwin Encarnacion has 30 homers in his last 10 games, by the way.
Yeah, he does. He's got a hit streak, and he's got some record having to do with that in home runs. All right, thank you so much for joining us this week. We're back in 2 weeks on Phillies Nation. Have a great Labor Day weekend.